Hello, I'm Jennifer Jean. Usually in segments where I discuss my own poems, I discuss why I wrote a specific poem and most of all, why I made the choices I made within that poem, from line breaks to word usage to tone, to which titles I rejected or which endings I rejected. Sometimes I even go into workshopping advice I'm glad I followed and workshopping advice I'm glad I ignored. You can find these video segments on my Jennifer Jean Writer Patreon page, which is a great resource for people like you who are doing the hard work of making your poems into their best selves. But today I'll be talking about the vision and intent for my series of eco poems called Pacific. In this series, I feel I'm stretching my own understanding of what an eco poem can be, because I'm crossing over what to me is a new threshold. I'm doing what's always helped me. I'm articulating and refining my intention for my poetry in order to better share it with the world, because that's what I want to do. So my poems are not just for me, they're definitely for a view, for unseen audiences throughout the ages. If you have a project you're wrestling with, definitely try this approach. Try articulating, whether you're writing it down, talking it over with a friend, making a video like I'm making, however you want to do it, articulate what your vision is. It really, really helps. So I'm going to go through the process for you, just to give a little demonstration so it can help you and it can also help me. Okay, so here we go. If it weren't for the following elements, I wouldn't call the Pacific poems eco poems, okay? I'd call them poems of place, which is actually a strong theme in the literary journal The Common. It's a wonderful journal where two of the poems in the series appear. So the first element that makes me think this is an eco poem, that these are eco poems, I should say, all of them, is that the Pacific showcases ecological impulses. So I should use air quotes there. Ecological impulses. I don't know if that's a real term or if I made it up. I don't care. What it means to me is that the family that appears in these poems, which is my family, essentially, living in poverty in Los Angeles, okay, they're a fractured family and they're drawn to nature, and they recognize also throughout the series that nature feeds their souls when they have time to engage with it, or if they make time in their lives for it. So that's an impulse that they all have and they all share, and it appears throughout the series. And to me, that's part of ecology and part of an eco advocacy movement, is that people realize that they need this thing and therefore they need to take care of it. Okay, and just also especially beaches are what appear there, so hence the title Pacific. So the next element that makes this series an eco poem series is that air and water pollution, as well as litter and lack of care for marine life and health, are not merely tools used by the poems as symbols and metaphors for this fractured family. These things are actual results of fractured people. Okay, that's super, super important to me. They're actual results of fractured people. That's what leads, this is my philosophy underlying my poem series. My vision is that, fractured people lead to a fractured environment. That's what happens. So taking care of people matters if you want to take care of the environment. Okay, I really believe this. So the last thing that makes this eco poem series is that the Ecotech that appears in the series, there's a lot of what's sometimes called blue tech, which is technology and innovation, protecting the oceans, or green tech, protecting the land. These things are explored in the poems as a means to hope. But the poems convey that these innovations are useless when employed by perpetually fractured people. So I almost said these poems try to convey, or meant to, because that was how I had written it earlier, because I'm looking at some of my notes. But actually, I'm going to affirm they do convey this thing. Okay, I'm affirming it. So I know that, sure, a poem can have all kinds of intent, so these things, and that's why I was tempted to say I'm trying instead of just saying I'm doing this. So poets can have all kinds of intent for their work and not successfully convey the intent and vision in the work. Of course, I've had that happen for me. I know other people have it happen. I don't really know if I'm successfully conveying my intent, for sure. You can read my poems in the Common. I mentioned the Common. The poems are Malibu Beach and most recently, as of this recording, California. So check those out and you can decide for yourself. Sometimes I feel like I have imposter syndrome and that I'm not conveying. That's why I had that temptation to have the word try, and I'm afraid to tell you to look at those poems and see if I'm really conveying that intent. I mean, those are just 2 poems in the series. I can make that defense. They're just 2 out of, like, I don't know how long the series, 70 pages or something. So maybe you won't see it there, but if you saw it as a whole, I can make that. In any case, I still have that imposter syndrome going on, that these are not, for instance, in this case, really eco poems. But today I heard something interesting about imposter syndrome from Seth Godin. He's like this marketing guru guy. He said, and I'm going to read it directly off my notes, if you want to be a successful professional creative in the service of other people, and I do, you have to acknowledge the fact that you're afraid and the fact that you are an imposter. That was shocking. You are an imposter. Both these things are true. Both these things are fine. So the fact that I'm afraid is fine. I like that. That was actually the first part of what he said that I was able to digest. And then after that, I could digest the part about being an imposter is fine. Because he's saying that the fact that we're trying something, we know we're trying, we're taking risks, that makes us an imposter. We're not there yet. We're saying we're there. Like how I had that little hesitation before. I'm affirming that I'm somewhere. That has actually more power to get me to that place than if I just say I'm trying. So being an imposter in some ways is good. There's that old phrase, fake it till you make it, which is the same thing. But it's easier to say that than to get into this imposter syndrome thing, because people get, especially we artists, we poets, we get wrapped up in that. But actually, if you stop fighting the fear and you just say, I am afraid, and it's okay. And I am an imposter, and it's okay because I'm taking risks. I'm brave, not perfect. That's what's going to get me to some kind of success. And by success, I don't mean like I'm a fabulously famous poet. I mean like I feel satisfaction in the end result of my creative efforts. That's really what I mean. The other things might follow, like publication and so-called famous poets. That's a thing, I guess. But really that satisfaction, that's why we do this. That's why any artist does their art, right? So, you want to move through the fear. The only way out is through. Don't forget that too. And that's it. If you're watching this on YouTube, please take time now to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell below. In the description section of this video, you can find links to my Patreon, which I mentioned before, Jennifer Jean Writer, community page. You can find links to my Twitter, Instagram, website, where you can see all the different kinds of poems I have going on. On Instagram, if you're watching this on Instagram, you can find links to all these things in my bio. All the exclusive poetry and creative community related content is for patrons on my Patreon page, as low as $3. You can sign up 1 month, let it go, stick around, chat. That's what I'm hoping for. You chat. I want to see you there. Definitely become a subscriber. In the meantime, thanks for watching, or if you're listening. I look forward to engaging you all again as together we help our poems become their best selves. Bye.